Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Shelly, how are you doing?
Hey, Shelly, how are you doing?
Obviously, I'm Shelly Jeffcoat,
And,
and tell
oh, I am Shelly Jeffcoat. What the heck?
yes, it's all
Why?
right.
Why am I
It's all
Shelly?
right. It's all right. So, welcome to another Slice of Pie Teen Thursday Wacky Edition. And this week, there we go. This week we're gonna actually talk about back to school, which is by far one of the most amazing times of year, both for kids and for moms. I'm so excited, y'all. I cannot keep it together. I'm sorry.
She
Go
just
ahead,
wants me
Bella.
at the house. She just wants me at the house.
So, all right, so let's talk back to school. So it's that time of year, we've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, I think maybe even a month, prepping students, getting the mindset ready, getting everything together. Hi, welcome in the room. It's time to go back to school. I'm glad, y'all. So wherever you are in the country as you're getting ready for school, if you're a teen, if you're a parent, drop us in the chat and tell us how it's going for you. I think we're just gonna check in and see how it's going. So Bella, you were able to go to an event today at your school. We can't drop the name of the school, y'all, but why don't you tell us a little bit about how your back to school setup is and any tips and things that you want to share with kids who are heading back, some of them this week and some of them, some kids started this week and some start next week. So why don't you go ahead and take it from here? I'll
All
just be
right. Okay. Obviously, back to school. I know people that have already gone back to school. I go back next week. Um, it's like weird because the summer, like, you get out of school and you're just like, oh my god, this summer is gonna be like the best summer ever, and I'm gonna remember every bit of it. And then, like, it feels like 5 seconds later, oh, school is next week, and I just got my schedule. I'm confused.
Okay. Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah, it's like summer went by really fast. Like, I'm really happy that obviously summer exists because summer is great.
Yeah.
All right, we need a break. But I think back to school is always, yeah.
Yes. Yes, we are.
There are a lot of people that, like, hate back to school. Not even
Yeah.
stopping the stress because they just don't want to go back to school.
Yeah. Yeah. So Daza say, hi there. I felt that the summer goes by so fast. So, I wonder if when we're thinking about like how you spent your summer and as you're preparing for school. So one of the things that, all kids do and parents and guardians, etc., is so there is the school supply list that you got to get through, right? So hopefully everybody's got their school supplies and they've got all those things. There's some checklist things that parents had to do. So, standard stuff, PTA sign up, yearbook, clothes, shoes, whatever. Okay, so we have a comment that says, I do school online, so it's easier to adjust for me. That's a good point. But even if you're online, you still have to get your mind right.
Yeah.
You gotta get the mindset. So talk a little bit about getting your mind together. Like, what are some of the things you're doing? You start Monday. So what are some of the things that you and your friends are doing to get ready for, just get your mindset ready for, the schedule of, actually having class and have to prioritize study and things like that?
I think, like, it can be really hard to get back into the mindset, especially since we had two months where we're just like, brains are shut off, like, goodbye. But, like, at least for me and my friends, the majority of what we talk about is back to school and schedules and, like, what we're doing in preparation for, like, the first day of school and getting to see our friends that we haven't seen in 2 months, So a lot of our conversations once we get closer to school is talking about school and what we're excited for and what we're not excited for, just kind of like remembering, oh, I have to go into this building at 8 a.m. next week. Like, so it's just a lot of conversations about that. So it's less like it feels less like a just surprise when you're just like when it's Sunday and it's like I have school tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's more like I have school tomorrow and I knew this because I've been thinking about it for the past month.
Yeah.
And like today we got our schedules and we all I got to see a lot of my friends at our open house. So it was like a little mini reunion. I obviously didn't get to see some of my friends.
Go ahead, Ty.
I actually didn't get to see some of my friends because some of them weren't there or they came at different times.
Mm-hmm.
But like to see people that you know and like figuring out whether or not you have classes with your friends and like, you know, you get home and you're just like, oh my gosh, I saw blah, blah, blah. Oh, I have class with blah, 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 blah. It helps you really like, oh my God, I'm going back to school. I'm in a new grade in however long you have until school starts. And even online school, it's like, because when COVID hit, I was online for pretty much the entire year. I was in person for like the last 2 weeks maybe. But like even going back to school in like online was weird. Like I had my own little outfit. I was dressed up. I was really excited. I couldn't sleep that night. I literally can never sleep the night before school because my brain is just running and running and running and running.
Yeah.
And so like even online school, even if you don't have to prepare, you still have to get supplies and stuff, but it's not like I'm going in person. I have to go get myself a new backpack, a new blah, 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 blah. But it's still like I am going back to school. I'm going to have, classes and I have to learn things and I have to, I have to like use my brain more than I did over the summer. Not just like sitting in my room asleep half the day.
I think you're confessing now. So for those of you guys who are doing school online, drop it in the chat and tell us how you're getting ready. If you haven't started school yet, how are you getting ready to start school, whether you're online or if you're in person, or whatever your situation is? Drop it in the chat and share some tips with how you're getting ready for back to school. So one of the things that I thought was interesting today, as you're going into the 8th grade now. So one of the things I thought was really interesting is the scheduling changes and trying to set expectations. Every single teacher has a high expectation of the student, So what are some of the things that you're going to do to help get yourself ready for? I mean, what are some of the classes that you're taking and how are you going to kind of get ready for, those classes, and what kind of tips can you share with kids who are, taking more advanced classes and they have to, kind of remember all of the information that they just had like 2 months ago that might be gone?
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. Go ahead and read the comment.
People didn't have to see what I look like.
Yeah. I think relaxing more helps. You don't really need to worry about showing your face or even talking. Yeah, that's one of the things that makes online school a little bit different. But it doesn't make the work easier. Right? It's still a lot of work. Online school is still a lot of work, but and you have to be so focused and kind of stick to a schedule. And then being in person, you're dealing with some of the distractions like seeing your friends, seeing folks in the hallway, trying to find your class, things like that.
Yeah. What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying.
Tips about getting ready for some of the more advanced classes.
There we go. So I'm taking either 3 or 4 classes. I can't remember whether or not my world language is a high school credit or not.
Yeah, the idea you can always go to your teachers for help at any time.
Yeah.
2 in the morning, yes, that's
don't email your teachers at 2 a.m. That's not smart.
yeah, that's not good.
Wonder
Well,
why
you can email them, but don't expect a response, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking either 3 or 4 high school classes. I can't remember whether or not my world language is high school class or not, but it's fine. But I think like remembering that like this is a grade above me, right? It's not like I'm taking 10th grade, I'm not taking 12th, I'm not taking 11th, I'm taking 9th grade. It's still high school, but it's less like, oh my God, I'm going to be taking senior level classes. I'm going to be 12th. Like high school, you think like old, like a lot older than you, especially when you're in middle school. Like sometimes, like at the beginning of the year, you're just like, high school is so far away. They're so much older. They're a year or two older.
Yeah,
it's not
that's a good
far
point.
away. I go to high school next year. Like it's not that far away. So I think like remembering that like it's a level above, and I was doing a level above last year as well, but it felt less like I was doing a level above. It felt like less than what it feels like now because it wasn't labeled as like a high school class, right?
Yeah.
So remembering that whatever grade you're in, if you're doing the grade above you, remembering that it's only a grade, it's only a year, right? People only a year older than you, if they're on that level, they're learning the exact same thing. Like it's not like you're learning like 10th grade, 11th grade, at least for me. Sometimes it's hard because they label all my stuff as high school classes.
Yeah.
So like keeping your brain like, oh my God, it's not that far away. It's not like I'm that like I'm ahead, but I'm not that far ahead to the point where it's scary.
Yeah, you don't stress yourself out thinking about how advanced. You just got to do the work. I was thinking about just another tip. So from a comment talking about always being able to go to your teacher for help at any time. That's a gold tip right there. Is the teachers are there to help you. So unless you have like the worst teacher in the world, y'all, and if y'all do, if there's any teen that is at a school where your teacher is not giving you the help that you need, escalate it to your parents, and parents escalate it to your PTA. That's what we pay, the little extra dollars for. That's why we're funding the schools. Make sure you ask for help. If your teacher isn't responding, make sure you get to your counselor. If your counselor isn't responding, make sure you go to the principal. That is the level of support you're supposed to get. It doesn't matter what school you're in or how much is being funded. It's the same thing if you're online and you're paying for it. If you're not paying for whatever, make sure you're getting the help that you need, and be prepared when you go to your teachers. At least try to figure out what the problem is, and then that way when you approach them, they have an understanding of what it is that they need to be able to help you resolve, right? Just make sure. So just and I'm a daughter of a teacher. My mom was a teacher our whole life, so I have high expectations of teachers because that's just how I was raised. So so the point, the whole job of the teacher is to help the students to make sure they can pass the class and learn the information. And if you are not getting that help, make sure you escalate it. Whether you're a student, you escalate it to your parents, you escalate it to the PTA. PTA doesn't listen, you go to the principal. Principal doesn't listen, you go to the school board. You have that right to do that. So I'm gonna come off my soapbox, but it's so important because there's a lot of kids that either are afraid to ask, or they don't know what to ask, or parents who aren't standing up more for the kids. Like, look, you have to know that you have the right to ask for the help. And most teachers, I don't know what's going on. I know I'm back. There's a storm coming.
Yeah.
There's a storm coming. So if we lose y'all, that's what happened. There's a storm raging outside. But most teachers want to help. Most teachers want to help. So if you start from that premise, most good teachers want to help. Well, if you start from that, so another tip though, Bella, is the relationship with the teacher. So what do you do? Because I know at your school you have a really good relationship with your teacher. Like when we went to Sneak Peek today, the smiles on their faces and the hugs that went out was incredible. So what do you do to kind of establish a relationship with your teacher? Because these are the folks you're going to be working with for the next, however many months. What are some of the tips you can share with that?
I think I'm whoa, okay. Okay. I don't like being mean. I don't like being rude. I don't like being disruptive. Like I genuinely like being a good person. I like being nice to other people. And like I think teachers' jobs are really hard. And it's really important to respect them. Even if I don't like the teacher, I don't have to like every teacher that I have. But I have to respect them, and I think remembering that respect goes a long way, because eventually you're going to need those teachers. It could be for like college applications, could be just to help you do your work or something like that. But you have to remember that like being a good student, like even if you're getting good grades, you have to respect the teacher. And like respecting the teacher doesn't mean stay quiet. It doesn't mean agree with every single thing that they say. It means like if you have a disagreement, you're able to either speak up about it and you're respectful in the way that you talk about it, or you're not being rude and disruptive in their class, and they know that if you are yelling and making jokes, it's at an appropriate time when they're not teaching the class, and they're like, okay, y'all can talk, y'all can do what you want, y'all can socialize with each other. So I think like I do that. I'm a really talkative person.
So a teacher has to plan just about everything you learn, so don't treat the person helping you like they're below you. That is so true. That is absolutely true.
Oh wow, you put 2 up. That was quick. Good job. But yeah, it's really important to like remember to respect your teachers, because teachers have really hard jobs. They have to deal with us all day, and we are not the best people. We are not the best. Children are not the best people in the world to have to deal with. Even if we're all kind, even if we're, we're being good, like we're not all amazing. We're pretty.
We're not all amazing.
To have to figure out what these children are gonna like, what they're gonna dislike, how to plan a lesson in a way that's gonna allow them to learn while also like them being engaged in the conversation. So I think like respecting that and understanding that teachers have really hard jobs. And basing your relationship off of respect with your teacher and truly being kind to your classmates and your teachers and literally everyone really helps you have good relationships with your teachers. Not every teacher has to either.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think another relationship outside of the teacher is also having a good relationship with the counselors. So that if you need them, I mean, you might go through the whole school year and not have a word to say to your counselor, but you just never know. And also the nurses, like y'all be nice to the folk that work at the school, the nurses on staff. If you're at a school where you're in person, if you're not in person and you're online, if there's any sort of like contact that you're working with or you're checking in with, or your tutors or anybody, like maybe the golden rule is just be nice to the folks that are supporting you, because everyone, I think, we're doing the best we can. Yeah, I've never really talked to my counselor. Yeah, that's all right. Lucky. That might be a good thing.
I like
you go if you need to.
My counselor this year, I've known her since I was like 6. I've known her since elementary school. So I have a really good relationship with her. And I know that I get really stressed out. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I said it. I'm gonna take credit for that.
It
Being
was
kind
the one
goes
and
a
only
long way. It
Shirley
does.
Jessica. No one
That
else.
yeah. It was me.
I forgot what the heck. I forgot my
So the other thing I was thinking about in terms, yes, I'll take the credit. So the other thing I was thinking about, we gave 2 tips. The other tip I would say is taking care of yourself, like physically, before you start school. So especially if you spent the summer and you spent it kind of sleeping later, or I mean, that's not the case for everybody. Everybody wasn't sleeping late and hanging out in their room all summer. That's not the case. But making sure that at least the weekend before. So if you're starting school next week or you're starting school later on, make sure that you take care of yourself and see, she's yawning. Get some rest before school starts. So I try to advise, like, the weekend before, or you try to get yourself back in your sleep pattern of when you would wake up, or maybe the week before, try to get your sleep pattern back so that by the time that Monday comes, you're not causing your parents a headache because you won't get up. Because you won't get up. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're getting on the school bus, you getting on public transportation to go to school, or your parents are driving you to school, or you're online and you're going into another room. You still have to make sure that physically that you're able to wake up and you have your mind you have your mind right. You get all the rest that your body needs. So that's another, I'm gonna say, that's tip 3, is to make sure that you're physically rested before school starts.
I think one thing that's super super important, just for school in general, is making sure that your mental health is good, because school is really really cool. I know that once school starts, my mental health has like slowly declined, especially like during middle school. It just got worse and worse. So you have to make sure that you're not stressing yourself out too much. No, same. I don't sleep enough. It's bad.
Yeah.
But like, you have to make sure that your mental health is good. And you have to remember that like grades aren't everything, right? They're important, but they're not everything that you should be worrying about. You should be worrying about yourself as a person, your physical health and your mental health, more than you are your grades. Your grades, if they're good, they're good. If they're bad, they're bad. Like, you could always do better, but like don't prioritize them to the point where it's making you unwell. This is really important for parents to know too, because y'all put so much pressure on us to do well in school, which I think it's really important to do well in school, but it's more important to have your mental health like good, to have good mental health, and for you as a person to be okay. Because again, grades, you're not everything, and you putting pressure on us to have perfect grades is just going to make it worse and worse. And it's just going to, like, we get a bad grade, and I've struggled with this, like, you get a bad grade and your brain is just like, I could have done, like, obviously I could have done better is a good thought, but like not to the point where it's hurting you and it's making you like, so it's like it's just clouding your brain, and it's like ruining your day, your week, your month. So remember that, like, just because we're not going to a 9-to-5 job every day, just because we're not working, does not mean that we don't have stress in our lives, and does not mean that we don't have things that are challenging. And don't ask us how we could be stressed when we're just going to school every day and we're just see our friends and there's only like a paper due. Like, don't compare your life to ours, because two very different stages of life, two different people get stressed in different ways because of different things. And school it's stressful. So is work. Things can be stressful. That things can stress me out that don't stress you out. And it goes the other way. So like, don't undermine our feelings. Don't invalidate our feelings about, whatever's going on in our life. Don't, oh, no, you're not. That's not happening to you. You would never, like, just because what you think your child has never been through or what you think your child has never felt or done does not mean they haven't felt it. They haven't done it. They haven't seen it. It doesn't mean that. That's just what you think of your child, and you don't know everything.
Lord, we know. And also, every child is different. You can't say like one child, you can't treat your kids the same because they're very different. So it can't be like, Bella did this, so her sibling would do X, or you can't even compare this to, right? You can't do that because you can't
compare me to my sister.
Yeah, you can't compare at all to your sister. Yeah. Okay, so we've got 5 tips that we rolled out, 5 great, I think, back to school tips aside from the obvious stuff, is you have your school supply. I really hope that everyone who is listening, whether you're on live or you're going to catch the replay, I really hope that you have all the school supplies that you need, because that is obviously important, that you have, whatever it is that you needed to get you started off right. I'm praying that you're not in a situation where you are feeling any sense of lack. I'm really hoping that you're in a school system that's providing everything that you need, or you're in a community where you're getting served. If you're in a situation where your parents can't provide, that they're finding a way, and really that's their responsibility, right? They'll find a way for you to get everything you need. So really hoping that you have everything that you need to get ready for school, whatever the school supplies look like, whatever is a new backpack, a new sneakers, whatever it is that you need, your ring binders, everything, right? Every thumbtack. I don't know, y'all don't use thumbtacks. Every Post-it note, everything that you need.
It's like thumbtack.
You have. I don't know. I'll talk about that on Tuesdays. But outside of having the supplies, we talked about the mental health check. We talked about reducing the pressure. We talked about setting expectations, getting the help that you need, physically taking care of yourself. And I think before we tie this up, it's an exciting time. So we start off really giddy and happy. I know there's a lot of parents who, sure. Oh, go ahead and read it out, Bella.
They said, another thing I want to say, and it may be delayed, but most humans don't actually show how they feel. Most people will smile brightly, but be sad or nervous on the inside. It's better to not judge someone without knowing what they're going through.
Exactly.
I completely agree.
Yes.
Every single statement you just said, you're completely right. Come on the show, bestie. That was nail on the head. Is that the term? Nail on the head?
Yeah. We hit the nail on the head. Yes, we absolutely agree. Just because people, there's a lot of folks who mask how they feel, so they might be smiling, but they're crying on the inside. Or they may look sad and they're happy on the inside. So you can't judge. And sometimes it's just asking how you doing. And if they don't want to answer, you, let it go.
Take a bow.
Take a bow, my friend. Take a bow. Right on the nose. Absolutely. So it's giving people permission to just be themselves, especially if you're seeing friends that you haven't seen in a little while, and they might not adjust to the same person you left last year, right? So maybe that's now we're running down a list of 10. Maybe that's tip 6 is meeting people where they are. That's the best way I can put it, is like meet people where they are. Don't judge folks for, not reacting or responding in the same way that you are, or judging based on what you think happiness looks like, or even sadness looks like, if you don't know. So it's best to just get to know folks, but definitely making sure that as you're reintroducing yourself to your friends, right, it is that because you haven't seen each other in a couple months. And so you're reintroducing. So some things might have happened over the summer, right, Bella, where maybe your friend don't want to talk about. Everybody don't want to talk about how their summer went. Right? everybody don't want to talk about how their summer went. So you know, maybe that's not, you know, maybe it's just a how are you doing or how you been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a comment. Go ahead, Bella, read that out.
Yes, I met up with an old friend yesterday and I asked them how they were doing, and I could tell they didn't want to say what happened. I didn't want to push. I asked if they wanted. There we go. To talk about it, do something, and I feel bad for them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that happens. That happens a lot. I think one of the most important things when that happens, when you know your friend's going through something but they don't want to say it, is just letting them know that you're there for them for whatever it is. Like I'm not gonna push you to tell me what's going on, but you need to know that if you do ever need to tell me what's going on, that I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna support you and I'm gonna want the best for you. And I'm like always there. Yeah.
I love that.
I'm always like gonna be there for you, whatever happens. Even if they don't want to say what happened, because not everyone wants to talk about their issues, and that's perfectly okay.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So my last question is, do you think about, and again, I don't know, again, y'all drop it in the chat if you guys do this as well, but do you think about what you want out of the year, or is that just like a grown-up thing? Do you think that far ahead, like what you want out of this new school year, or is like teens don't think about that?
I think we most definitely do. It's less of like what we want out of the year, and it's more like it depends on the context, because if we're talking like learning and, you know, actual school things like teaching and doing essays and tests and all that stuff, we don't really think, I'm not really thinking about that, right? I'm not really thinking, what am I going to learn this year, right? But like in terms of just school and the social part of school and talking to people, I'm most definitely thinking about how I want the school year to go, you know, how I want. No, same.
Yeah.
What, girl?
Stella. If anything, I just want to pass school and not get scolded.
No, same. School always, even if I fumble a little bit, you know, fumbling's perfectly fine.
just get back up, right?
Yeah.
So you might fumble, you know, somewhere in the school year, but you better, we're West Indian, you better get it together. You better get it together. Oh my gosh. All right. So what do you want to leave our folks? First of all, let's talk about who's coming next week. So next week we're really excited. I can bring it up, Bella. I can bring up the name. So Courtney Coble, she's the CEO of Academy of Goal Achievers. It's a successful organization. They develop youth leaders, preparing high school students and parents for what's called post-secondary education and careers. So not everybody goes off to college after high school. Some kids go into technical schools, or some kids go into work, right? So her organization, Academy of Goal Achievers, they're based out of North Carolina here in the US. She's going to be joining Teen Thursday next Thursday. So we hope that you guys will check back and listen to what Courtney has to say. She's talking about servant leadership, developing teens, education empowerment, a lot of leadership skills for teens, and help all around helping you get prepared. It doesn't matter if you're in 8th grade, 9th grade, 12th grade, whatever it is. She's going to drop some jewels. So it is going to be an amazing event. Another guest that's coming on to Teen Thursday that Isabella is going to be interviewing. And then in the future, I mean, we have a lot more guests coming on Teen Thursday, which I'm really excited about. I'm also super, super excited about, if I can just like drop it real quick, that we have a lot of really cool guests coming on, but we also have 2 very special guests. We have the group coming from Teens to the Teens, which is an amazing organization all to itself. They're coming on. But we also have Hadassah and Samuel, who are my niece and nephew, and they're going to be joining us, in August to talk about homeschooling. And I think that will be really helpful for those of you who are in homeschool programs and, get to hear some success stories, but really get some encouragement about what happens after that. So I'm really excited that they're going to be joining us as well. So how are you going to close this out? How you want to close this? I think that's meant to be my brother.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's all right. It's all good. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Liking the video obviously allows us to keep bringing you more content. Sharing it is really helpful if you have teen or people in your family who might be encouraged by what we're sharing here. But what do
you got the lines down, Mama?
I worked on it, y'all.
That's new. That's new.
Done it right. I did it. Okay.
Period.
Okay. It only took me 20 times.
You got it down.
Thank you. How do you want to close this out, Bella?
We're just gonna restate our nice little tips.
Yeah. All right. So great. Now she's got me working for real. Well,
I'm scrolling back. Calm down. You don't have to.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
All right. Remember, number 1, ask your teacher for help. If your teacher doesn't help, they're not a great teacher. But if your teacher doesn't help, there are loads of people who will help.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Tip 1.
All right.
Tip 2. Building a relationship with your teacher starts with respect.
Yeah.
Very, very, very important. You don't respect your teachers, they won't respect you, bestie.
Exactly.
Tip 3. Get rested and adjust your sleep schedule before school starts. Very important. It's hard to adjust when you have to go to bed. When you We're just gonna confess real quick. I would go to bed at 4 a.m. almost every night before camp started, and now I have to go to bed at 9:30. It's hard to adjust to, so adjust before school starts. So you're less I'm gonna stay up till 2 because I don't know how to stay up till anything before that.
All right. What's tip number 4?
Tip number 4. Mental health check is just as important. Please, please, please remember this. There are too many people who think mental health is stupid. Too many people. It is not stupid. Please remember that. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Tip 5, parents, please reduce the pressure on teens. Stress means poor mental health and they can't achieve much. Yes.
Yeah.
Stress is annoying. And it just makes us not like you. It just makes us annoyed. It really does. Tip 6, meet people where they are. Not everyone is going to be the exact same person they were last year. I'm not the same person I was last year. Remember, if you don't like who they are now, that's perfectly okay. Don't be mean about it. Remember, if someone doesn't want to tell you something bad happened, if they don't want to tell you, remember to make sure they know that you're always there for them. If you are there for them, you probably should be there for them. But if you are there for them, make sure that they know that so they feel comfortable sharing with you in the future.
That's perfect. All right. So I think that's what we have. I've dropped, in case for those of you guys who don't know, we actually have books. We have affirmation books for teens on our website. So I've dropped that
on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. But if you go to our site, under books, you'll see all of them. So we've got P.I.E for teens that, they're very thin. You can drop them in your backpack. And there's just an affirmation per day. It's not a lot, so you won't get overwhelmed. And then also there's journals, P.I.E journals. So P.I.E, for those of you who are new here, P.I.E stands for Proud, Inspired, Empowered. And so those journals are just 52 weeks. So it's a weekly journal where you go in and put in, what were you most proud of over that week? What really inspired you that week, and what you felt empowered to do. So those journals, I think, are really cool because it helps you really stop and look at all the great things that you accomplished. And then at the end of the year, you have a really cool way to look back at all the amazing things that's happened and just remind yourself of how amazing you are. So on that note, thank you so much for having another amazing conversation, Bella, for leading us through the back to school. Join us again next week. We have more guests coming in. For those of y'all, before you leave, like the video on your way out, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get the notifications, and that way I'm not stalking y'all on social media, because I do. And please come back. We love having you guys in the chat. Please do that. Oh, that's great. Oh, thank you. Oh, well, I'm glad that your dad showed you this. Awesome. Well, please come back. We definitely want to make sure that we have the conversation, so it's not just me talking to Bella to ourselves. And for the parents that are watching the replay, remember that Tuesdays.
Wow, you were really excited about that.
Did you see that?
You were just. I just don't want to talk to Bella because you have to talk to her all day, every day. I'm not that.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Thank you very much.
If you're new here, we do try to have a fight once every 20 minutes because that's how we roll. But for those of you who are parents, then join us on Tuesday for what we call Tipsy Tuesdays, which is where we talk with business owners, business leaders, life, work, all of those things. So please come back. Tell your friends. We want more teens to participate. We want more teen guests. So if you're a teen and you're doing something great, please reach out. If you go to my website under Contact Us, you'll see how to reach me, and we'll love to have you on our panel and come tell us about the cool things you're doing. We want to hear from you guys. All right, Bella. So I think this is where we kind of end, and now we say tutelage. I don't know, y'all.
Tutelage? I don't know, y'all. Sorry.
I think she's gonna shut me down. All right, say bye, Bella.
Bye, Bella.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Please come back.
Yeah.